Hey everyone, your logical libertarian here. This live stream is kind of off the cuff. I don't think anyone's really gonna see it, but if anyone does, awesome power to you guys. It is 11:27 Pacific Standard Time. So like California, Oregon, Washington, it's 11:27. You know, uh, Mountain or whatever, Colorado, or for Colorado in that Mountain Time. Montana, that area, it's 12:27. It's after midnight. It's already election day. Um, it is 1:27 or whatever in the next one over Central. And then on the East Coast, it is 2:27 or 2:28 now. It's a bit of a ways in. So election day's already started for most of you, most of America. For the West Coast and Hawaii, it still isn't quite yet. We've still just been turning in absentees so far, and I wanted to talk about this fucking election. It's something that I know is probably not going to be seen till tomorrow, the actual election day. But I wanted to talk, and I'm sorry about this noise in the background, but I wanted to talk about just about how depressing this election year has been. Now, I was pretty depressed 4 years ago when we had Romney and Obama, and I think epic rap battles of history really captured how shitty it was. Obama had 4 years to make a lot of to keep promises he hadn't really made yet, and Romney seemed very similar to Trump actually. Romney was a flip-flopper. He said a lot of things that he did the opposite of Trump, where during the conservative campaign, during the GOP campaign, he seemed really conservative. Then during the presidential, the campaign against Obama, he seemed a little bit more reasonable, but still, it's kind of the opposite, where Trump went from being a bit more liberal and a bit more center during the GOP run for the nomination, which I think a lot of people responded to, and then going full fucking conservative and far to the right when running against Clinton, which to me just is retarded, is the dumbest fucking move you could ever do as a politician. But this is the thing, he's not running. I really don't think he's running seriously. We're going to talk about a few things, and I'm going to lay down a conspiracy hypothesis that I think is true. And I think that Trump was, if you believe in election rigging, and you think that you understand that there were scales tipped against Sanders, I think that Trump was involved in rigging the election for Clinton. Now, I'll explain this. Like I said, I'm not going super crazy, but I'll explain this further, and I'll show a few clips of things Trump has said, especially during the GOP run. That first Fox debate, which none of these are really debates, but that first Fox, meet the candidates, a candidates night, that I think really showed who he is and what he does. And like I said, if I had to pick between the two, if I was put in a voting booth and I was stuck in a time loop and I could not exit and get back to my time, I could not die and I could not get back to time. Time could not continue for me without making a decision between Trump or Clinton. I would go with Trump because there would be 4 years of nothing, really. Of nothing changing, of nothing getting better, of nothing getting worse, of just the same corrupt bullshit. And the only thing is he might pick a shittier judge, but they all suck. I don't want a super conservative judge, but I also don't want a super liberal judge. And I think having a super conservative judge to replace the super conservative one that just died would balance things out. That maybe they might be, you need to have Because as much as I agree with protecting basic human rights that were protected in the ruling on the LGBT case, I don't want to see a precedent set by an SJW judge that, or an SJW heavy court that could fuck things up. It needs to be more balanced. There needs to be more discussion to where maybe when something really SJW-y comes down the pike, something PC, that judge might be able to sway the mind of one person to where it's 5-4 other way. And if it's something that has to do with religion or anything crazy, the 5-4 liberal vote will win. And that's why I think we need to have that. We don't need to have it to be 6-3. Personally, I think all the judges should be elected in that, but that's outside of that. So there's a lot of issues that I really don't like Clinton on. I'll admit, Benghazi, don't really care. I care about the deaths of the 4 soldiers, of course. I don't care about her alleged involvement or anything like that. It was a drop ball, for sure, and it maybe shows that she isn't fit to be president if she dropped a ball like that. However, if that's supposed to fall on the Secretary of State, that means that maybe she's not fit to pick the Secretary of State to handle it. However, you could also say, well, being president, you have to deal with more than what the Secretary of State was, which is a good case. But I really don't think Clinton is up to the task. I don't think Trump is either. But I think that Trump would be less egregious because he's going to be kept in check by the Supreme Court, kept in check by Congress, kept in check by the American people, and is not going to be elected for a second term. Clinton, on the other hand, who I believe is going to win tomorrow, we didn't have a bad enough time with Obama, and a lot of things that Obama did were swept under the rug. A lot of things he didn't do that he promised he'd do were forgotten about, and we've been so swept up this whole year. And that's the thing, they started this over a year ago, this whole election, and it's just been bullshit. That's what I think. But then again, I really don't think that Trump is a serious candidate. I think he is in it for one of two reasons. He's in it for his own self-interest, or I think he's in it to help Clinton. I really do. A lot of people bring up, how dumb or bad do you have to be to make Hillary Clinton look good? Donald Trump. And Trump isn't that stupid. You can see in clips where he's shown that he's not an idiot. Yeah, he's a bit of a blowhard. Can be buffoonish when he's doubling down to defend his pride. But when he's actually sitting calmly talking to someone, he's not an idiot. He can articulate ideas. And he's articulated quite a few about Clinton that are positive. Even just, 8 years ago. And I really do think sorry to yawn. I really do think that Trump, I don't know. Like I said, who I want to vote for, if you guys can't guess by the fucking logo, I voted for Gary Johnson. Well, you're not supposed to say that. Fuck you. First Amendment, I can say whatever the fuck I want. I voted for Gary Johnson. Go fuck yourself if you don't like that I spoke about who I fucking voted. It doesn't matter. I can say who I voted for. There's no difference between me telling you who I voted and fucking Katy Perry hosting some live stream at the Clinton Foundation or whatever. Oh, vote for Clinton. Oh, no. Katy Perry can do that. Yes. Lady Gaga can do that. Yes. But if I or if a celebrity were to say, I voted and this is who I voted for, that is somehow corrupt. Yeah. Fuck you. We're fucking retarded. Anyway, let's check on the chat, guys. Nothing going on in the chat. I am the one person watching. Let's change the name to this real quick, which is Let's do that. Yeah. There we go. We did that. We typed that shit in. Okay, now people can find it better. Did it save? Let's see. We'll do this. Let's check. Go to my channel. Videos. Home. Doesn't have a live now thing. Oh well, fuck it. Anyway, let's look up Donald Trump.
Hey, here in my backyard. People always asking me for a tour, so I thought I'd...
Who cares?
You're the only person on the stage that's ever been fined for hiring people to work on your projects illegally. You hired some workers from Poland.
I'm the only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody.
Okay, guys.
Laws should be ashamed of. Things don't pay for
Workers, you'll see it.
Am I allowed to respond to this? You know the insurance company said.
Okay, is this
Never be
CNN?
able
Yeah,
to
this
do
is
it.
CNN. We don't care. GOP debate. Fox.
Mr. Trump, one of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women...
Oh, Megan, we don't care. We're trying to find something. Supporting Hillary Clinton. Yeah, this is one.
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. I've been around for a long time, and it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. But if you go back, I mean, it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats.
Healthcare.
Okay, and you saw what time that was? That was 2004. About a little 3 to 4 years into Bush's presidency.
The economy does better under the Democrats.
Healthcare.
The liberal in healthcare, we have to take care of people that are sick.
Universal health coverage.
I love universal. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've known her for years.
That's one of the things too. She's known her for a long time. Long time.
Live in New York. She lives in New York, and I've known her.
There it is.
1 second.
Newsflash.
I know. Hold on, Senator Paul.
Newsflash, the Republican Party's been fighting against a single-payer system for a decade. So I think you're on the wrong side of this if you're still arguing for a single-payer system.
I don't think you heard me. You're having a hard time tonight.
All right, Mr. Trump, it's not just your past support for single-payer health care. You've also supported a host of other liberal policies. You've also donated to several Democratic candidates, Hillary Clinton included, Nancy Pelosi. You explained away those donations, saying you did that to get business-related favors. And you said recently, quote, when you give, they do whatever the hell you want them to do.
You better believe it.
So what specifically did they...
Now, it's true. He is calling out this system. However, he's also admitting that he is a part of the system. And that's what made him good in the GOP debate, was that he was showing the system for what it is and calling all those fuckers out. However, now he's not doing that. He's been doing it a little bit, but he hasn't been doing it as well as he could have. Which to me, I really believe. Just watch.
They do.
If I ask them, if I need them, you know, most of the people on this stage I've given to, just so you understand.
Not all of them. He's probably given to, I'd guess, maybe Rubio, probably Christie over here, weighing down the side, and maybe Jeb. He probably gave to Jeb once. Who the fuck was that? I can't remember his name. That dumbass, fucking doofy looking fucker. Can't remember. He's a governor or whatever. Or a mayor. He's a fucking idiot. He's like, I'm shutting down. I'm busting up the fucking unions. Yeah. Fuck the middle class. Fucking idiot.
A lot of money.
Not me. Not me.
No, Jeb, he has, you little fucking corporate whore motherfucker.
But you're welcome to give me a check, Donald, if you'd like.
Many of them.
Actually, to be clear,
That's right.
Yeah, Rubio did. This fucker didn't. Rubio's definitely taking money from him.
Not Charlie Crist.
Not Mike.
Hey, Charlie,
but I have...
Donald, if you end
I
your
have
campaign, I hope you will give to me.
Good.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me, Governor. I will tell you that our system is broken. I give to many people. Before 2 months ago, I was a businessman. I give to everybody. When they call, I give. And you know what? When I need something from them, 2 years later, 3 years later, I call them. They are there for me.
So
and that's a broken system.
So what'd you get from Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi?
Well, I'll tell you what. With Hillary Clinton, I said, be at my wedding, and she came to my wedding. You know why? She had no choice because I gave. I gave to a foundation that, frankly, that foundation is supposed to do good.
Okay, he's donated to Clinton. He's supported her in the past. He's gone on record in that clip we showed you previously. In that interview, he went on record saying that he thought the Clinton administration was a good administration. He has gone on record saying that. I really, really think, if you look at how he's talked with her, how he's resorted to shitty arguments, I really think Trump drew the short straw. If you want to believe in, the elites really running everything, they needed someone to go against Clinton to make her win. Trump drew the straw. It was probably Trump and Soros and a few other people. They also probably knew that Trump would be the most likely believable Republican. The others weren't. They all are pretty, nothing wrong with being a little bit liberal, but they're all very, the elitists. Trump is more believable as a Republican. If Clinton was a Democrat, it would have been Soros running. That's why I think there was sabotage during the Democratic nominee race, the primary, because they knew that if Trump won and if Sanders won, well, Sanders would be running everything and you wouldn't have the money-grubbing political, control anymore. And that's the thing, too. Trump's a fallback. Clinton doesn't win and Trump wins. It's very likely that Trump will do everything Clinton was going to do. He's going to get blocked by Congress because most of Congress is going to be liberally elected, with, Sanders waking up everybody, all these liberals, the millennial, my generation, waking up the liberal millennials and getting them to vote. I really, really do believe that Donald Trump is not running a serious campaign. And it's why I sometimes cannot take, like, Sargon and Computing Forever, I can't take them seriously when they back Trump. When you back Trump, it's like, and they're like, yeah, he's saying he wants to do good things. No, he doesn't. He's a buffoon. He's either running for his own self-interest or he's running to get Clinton elected. He's not a serious candidate. And Clinton, Clinton's the golden girl. It's her time. It's her turn. She's the establishment plug that's been planned for a long time. And she was going to go, but then they discovered the hot new black guy that they thought would be an easier pill to swallow than Hillary Clinton. That they thought would be easier to beat the potential Republicans like McCain and Ron Paul. Ron Paul would have given Obama a run for his money. Ron Paul would have drowned Clinton in the fucking debates. Same goes for Sanders. Sanders would have destroyed Trump. You actually might see it go Sanders then Johnson in the support. Because a lot of people would have backed Sanders. And I think Johnson would have been the next best person. Or at least the next popular. Because Johnson would have been another principled person running. But, of course, we can't get over some of the stupid shit that Clinton has done. That Clinton has said. Clinton is corrupt. She has been for the war in Iraq, against the war in Iraq. She has been in favor of gay marriage and against gay marriage. She is against violent video games. She has made it clear that she does not support violent video games. She has made it clear that she is a social justice type. She supports Black Lives Matter. She supports third wave feminism. She's not someone that we need. Now, would I suggest you vote for? I think Gary Johnson's the best option. Could vote for Jill Stein. Fuck right in whoever you want. If you don't know who to vote for and you think you know someone over the age of 35 who would make a good president, write their name in. Fuck, if you're over the age of 35, write yourself in. And if you don't want to vote, don't. Now, if you don't vote and then you complain that whoever so-and-so got elected, well, you didn't vote. So you don't have as much right to complain. You have the right to complain. But you're a bit of an asshole. That being said, let's look at some other shit. Let's look around. Let's talk this out. So, as I said, hold on one second. Let's type something in the chat. Come on. So, like I said, I'm just running this everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. Probably disorienting as fuck. Got the fucking loop going on there. Anyway, what else can we look up? YouTube. Okay, you can see why people hate atheists. There you go. It's a funny thing. That's the other thing, too. Let's look at the VP debate. Let's watch that. Because as much as I don't like Weld, Ken and Pence fucking suck.
You've been called America's dad. Do you think that is meant as a compliment?
I do. I'll tell you how much of a dad type I am. I got in the middle of this stream of dad jokes. I never knew dad jokes were a thing until I found myself in the middle of an ongoing thing about dad jokes.
What's your best dad joke?
Well, the one that made me laugh the most, when I spoke at the convention and people were tweeting out these dad jokes, and this is the one that I liked, and it kind of rings true. Tim Kaine is the kind of dad who tears up when he praises you for turning your math grade around, even though it's still only a B-. And to me, that's just, I've been there with my kids. But I've been prepared for this thing because my children have been ripping on me for their entire life.
And to moderate this debate.
That is a terrible fucking dad joke. I can think of way better fucking dad jokes. Here's a good fucking dad joke. What do you call a big lizard with a GPS? A navigator. Get it? I beat you, Tim Kaine. I should be VP. No, fuck Clinton. Oh, although if I were VP, that would mean that if Clinton died, I'd be president. She could die. He's old. That's her. Ooh! Being a shot.
Between Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence. Both are longtime public servants who are also proud
Let's skip to
fathers
2244,
of sons serving
please.
in the U.S. Marine.
Donald Trump wrote a book, and he said Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
Run out of money. You'll be set.
We have a tax code.
Recently, the New York Times
It's on the table that's a you're hired plan.
announced state budgets.
Donald Trump has built
Suburbs of Chicago.
Presidential debate.
Presidency between Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence. Both are longtime public servants who are also proud fathers. To be an honor to moderate this debate between Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence. Both are longtime public servants who are also proud fathers of sons serving in the U.S. Marines. The campaign.
Okay, why does your child being in the military have anything to do with it? My brother's in the military. What does that mean? Some would say, okay, so he respects the military. He'd be okay with us going to war in Syria. He understands us being in Syria. You'd be wrong. Sometimes, you see, that's the thing. Kaine would view his son being in the Marines as a reason not to go to war, most likely. Well, I mean, he is running with Clinton, so. And then Pence might view his son being in the Marines as, well, I understand the military, and I understand why we should be doing this. See? It doesn't do anything. They just use it as some... It's like SJW cred. It doesn't mean shit. I'm black, so I know everything about racism. No. Don't take any credit for your fucking sons having more balls than either of you.
Have agreed.
I mean, if either of you served, congrats and thank you, but still, your son's got more balls than both of you.
To the rules of this 90-minute debate, there will be 9 different segments covering domestic and foreign policy issues. Each segment will begin with a question to both.
To be running with another
moment's notice. To be with.
Okay, here we go. Anyone find it ironic that Kaine's wearing red and Pence is wearing blue? They're wearing each other's colors. Now, of course, if I were in a debate, I'd probably wear blue too. Game 30 explains why. Extreme close up.
Welcome.
Whoa! It's fucking hilarious.
It truly is a
It's like a fucking, like a meme. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Privilege to be with both of you tonight. I'd like to start with the topic of presidential leadership. 28 years ago, tomorrow night, Lloyd Bentsen said the vice presidential debate was not about the qualifications for the vice presidency, but about how, if tragedy should occur, the vice president has to step in without any margin for error, without time for preparation, to take over the responsibility for the biggest job in the world. What about your qualities, your skills, and your temperament equip you to step into that role at a moment's notice? Senator Kaine.
Elaine, thank you for being here tonight. And Governor Pence, welcome. It is so great to be back at Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia. This is a very special place. 65 years ago, a young, courageous woman, Barbara Johns, led a walkout of her high school, Moton High School. She made history by protesting school segregation. She believed our nation was stronger together, and
look at Pence. Pence is like, yeah, okay, fucker, just answer the fucking question.
that walkout led to the Brown versus Board of Education decision that moved us down the path toward equality. I am so proud to be running with another strong, history-making woman, Hillary Clinton, to be president of the United States.
All right, Pence is an asshole and a dumbass. Like, he's a real dumbass, like Ben Carson level dumbass. But he also knows, okay, Kaine, you're full of shit. Come on. Come on.
I'm proud because her vision of stronger together, building an economy that works for all.
Okay, Kaine, you're in favor of desegregation, but you realize that you are a part of the the political spectrum that is in favor of segregation, in favor of modern segregation. I would ask Kane, say, okay, you're in favor of desegregation. What is your response? How do you feel? What would you tell? What would you support? Do you support the efforts to segregate racially and by gender in college campuses, primarily barring whites and men from living situations, from quote-unquote safe spaces and such? What's your view on that? As an anti-segregation person, as someone who's saying I'm proud to be in this area where segregation was challenged, how do you feel about that? What would you say? And because he's such a fucking soft, I think Pence would actually do better on that. Climate change. You see, the terrorists, they're praying to Allah to make the world hot. And we're gonna fight them with our... might even make a lot of big problems, so fuck you, Kane.
Hillary told me why she asked me to be her running mate.
You're a pussy that I can push around, and you're not loud enough to draw any attention, so it'll all be on me. That's why she picked you.
Said the test of a Clinton administration will not be the signing of a bill or the passage of a bill.
It'll be, are you okay with vagina taking over world? Or are you okay with me being a lizard person? Or, once a month, when I'm on my period, and come on, when Bill's out fucking 18-year-olds, can I call you in, strap on a fucking 8-inch dildo, and peg you? That was probably what it was. Alright, I'm being mean, but come on. Let's check the chat. Just me. Cool.
It'll be whether we can make somebody's life better, whether we can make a classroom better learning environment for school kids or teachers.
Yeah, no, because you're on the political side that's in favor of things like safe spaces. You support Black Lives Matter, which is perpetuating the idea that white people are inherently racist. You support third wave feminism, which perpetuates the idea that men are inherently sexist and rapists. And they're teaching this shit in classrooms. They were naturally savage. Yeah, wasn't right to do it to blacks. It's not right to do it to whites or men either.
Whether we can make us safer. It's going to be about results.
No, it's not. It's about sucking the corporate dick and hoping that you can get a little bit of that something for the money shot.
She said to me, you've been a missionary and a civil rights lawyer.
Oh my God. That's why she picked you. You're a religious fuck. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you're at all a hint of being an atheist running in American politics, you're fucking hated. Yeah. You can't be an atheist. You see, they'll take Pence seriously, even though he's a fucking moron. And this guy's like, you're a missionary. He and Pence are probably pretty fucking similar in their opinions. Which is scary, considering they're supposed to be on opposite ends of the political spectrum.
You've been a city councilman and mayor. You've been a lieutenant governor and governor, and now a U.S. senator. I think you will help me figure out how to govern this nation. You've climbed the corporate, the political ladder, and you probably got some corporate dicks in your butt. So, yeah. And also, more than likely, the Democratic Party pushed you towards her, saying like, hey, in case you die, you want another corporate whore to back you up. Just in case. Just in case. So that we always keep in mind that the success of the administration is the difference we make in people's lives. And that's what I bring to the ticket. That experience, having served at all levels of government. But my primary role is to be Hillary Clinton's right-hand person and strong supporter. And her secret peg lover when Bill's out of the house. She puts together the most historic administration possible. And I relish that role. I'm so proud of her. I'll just say this. We trust Hillary Clinton, my wife and I, and we trust her with the most important thing in our life. We come over and she comes over and we have 3 ways. She mostly does everything with my wife and I have to watch. And they strap on an 8-inch dildo and peg me. We have a son deployed overseas in the Marine Corps right now. We trust Hillary Clinton as president and commander-in-chief, but the thought of Donald Trump as commander-in-chief scares us to death.
Why? I know you haven't seen this debate yet, but who promised military action with Russia? Who's promising a no-fly zone with Syria? Who is more of a war? Who is more historically a war hawk? Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Governor Pence.
Well, first off, thank you, Elaine, and thank you to Norwood University for their wonderful hospitality. The Commission on Presidential Debates is deeply humbling for me to be here.
Thank you, Jeebus.
Be surrounded by my wonderful family, and Senator Kaine, it's an honor to be here with you as well.
See, I hate that saying an honor. I would say it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure and a privilege, because you're admitting, you're not saying that it's an honor to be with you, but it's a pleasure. You're showing that you're reasonable, you're nice, you're polite, you're relaxed. When you say, it's an honor, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Don't drink before you do this. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be discussing these topics with you. I thank you for joining me. It's showing that you're respectful, but you're relaxed. You're confident and comfortable in your skin, and people respond to that.
And I also want to say thanks to everyone that's looking in tonight.
Like Jeebus.
Who understands what an enormously important time this is.
This isn't a fucking, oh my gosh. He's just looking into the camera talking just like, you need to realize that it is an important time in our lives, and you need to start believing in Jeebus now. That's what he reminds me of. Holy shit.
The life of our nation. For the last 7.5 years, we've seen America's place in the world weakened. We've seen an economy.
Where? How are we weakened? Explain.
Economy stifled by more taxes, more regulation.
It's a mix of conservative corporatist failures and liberal corporatist failures. It's a mixture of both Bush and Obama. You see, I'd say the end of the Reagan term and the beginning of the Clinton Bush Senior term, it's mostly the Bush Senior that really probably set into effect any economic policies that were really necessary to fix anything. And then Clinton got elected, and things seemed okay. And then when Clinton left and Bush took over, everybody was like, no, Bush is terrible because the economy's bad, and he's only been in for like a year. And then the economy got worse because Bush is terrible. And then when Obama took over, everybody was like, oh, Obama's terrible because he just inherited all this debt that Bush also inherited some too. Oh no. And then they're like, yeah. And now Obama's going to be handing off even more debt because he also didn't know what the fuck to do. And we also keep forgetting that Congress is the one who makes the fucking budget, and that the president only signs on it, and they probably don't read the whole thing. Yeah, fuck you.
A war on coal and a failing health care reform come to be known as Obamacare, and the American people know that we need to make a change.
Agreed. The Affordable Care Act is a piece of shit. It is every bit of corporate corruption that we would expect to see from such a failed two-party system. However, I don't expect a failed two-party system politician to fucking fix it. In order to fix the Affordable Care Act, you need to recognize, you need to add things that conservatives like and things that liberals like. The answer to fixing it is either repealing it altogether and starting something new, or if you're okay with having a little bit more government, if you want to concede being a little bit statist here, you're willing to give that, which to healthcare, I kind of am. Honestly, I think I really get upset with the fucking anti-abortion people because, okay, I understand you're being anti-abortion. That's fine. It's your right to hold that stance. I think there's a lot of problems with a lot of the arguments that are made. But when you say you're pro-life, and you're like, yeah, we have the right to live, okay? when you break your leg or you have an infection, does that right not exist? See, that's the thing, is I think that it's a right, and that's why I support a better healthcare system, one that the government may be involved in. That's my view. I don't agree with the right to an education, although I do think it's a good idea to have kids in public education, or at least kids getting some sort of education until they're 18. I'm probably going to homeschool my kids, and I wouldn't really necessarily want to force your kids to be taught anything either, especially how shitty schools are getting. I'm becoming more and more okay with, well, if you want to homeschool your kids or send them to private school, fucking do so. Power to you. That's how I feel about it. But when it comes to healthcare, yeah, I support the government at least having a public option and maybe some entitlements for everybody. You know, everybody gets 2 emergency room visits. Everybody gets, 2 checkups a year. Everybody gets this. It's basic. It's easy. Government can put the bill. But if you're gonna get yourself fucked up hurt 3 or 4 times a year, you gotta have insurance to cover it, kids. And I do agree with Trump on opening up the fucking state borders for that. I shouldn't be limited to California. That creates a monopoly in California. And it's interesting because Trump knows that. Okay, yeah, shit-talking Trump, now giving Trump some props. He knows that if he were running a healthcare company, he would love the current system. Because in New York, which would be where he would be working out of, he would be able to destroy the rest of the competition in New York and then have no competition beyond that. He'd be controlling New York State, and he'd probably have the help of New York State politicians. But you guys don't get that. You don't see that. So there have been times where Trump's pulled back the curtain. But I think he's done it too few at times. And I think he's careful to do it too much because I think he knows that if he pulls back the curtain too far, people will catch on and he'll lose his legitimacy, which with me he already has. But yeah, you need to fix it or you need to do away with it. I say fix it. Come up with something better. A very libertarian approach would be you get X amount and that's it. You get X amount, the rest of it you fucking pay for yourself. Get insurance, get that. Keep the cannot be refused for a prior condition, but don't have a cap on how much they can charge. Yeah, if it can be deemed a necessity, government pay for it. Sure, fine. Cosmetic surgery? No. Things that are extremely expensive, have deductibles or something. But you should be required to have, not required, but it should be used under insurance. They should also have options to where you can set up reasonable payment plans with hospitals, with healthcare providers outside of that. There are a lot of things in this issue that should be looked into that weren't. It was just fucking dumped on us and told, you want healthcare? We get you healthcare. How'd you get me healthcare? Well, now I made a law that says you need to get it. And if you don't, government gonna get you. That's not a fucking solution. That's like saying, we need to make murder illegal to stop murder. No, you need to better the environment. Maybe also helping people take care of themselves might be better. Who knows? There's probably a lot. One would be having a better economy where we're all working more. We're not so stressed out. We're working more prosperous, spending more money, having more money, not having to work as much. So we're not working as hard, have more time to eat healthy, work out, relax. Those are things gonna make people healthier. Think about things like that.
And so I want to thank all of you for being with us tonight. I also want to thank Donald Trump for making that call and inviting us to be a part of this ticket.
Yeah, I don't know if he had as much to do with it. To be honest, if I was thinking of a running mate, I wouldn't have picked you. I probably would have picked Rand Paul. Because that would have been like, yeah, I'm not establishment, motherfucker. But, well, we all know what I think.
I have to tell you, I'm a small town boy from a place not too different from Farmville.
I'm humble.
I grew up with a cornfield in my backyard.
Cornfield in your backyard? Dude, your cornfield was your backyard, motherfucker. cornfield in your backyard. It's like, yeah, we had a cornfield. Like, we had 10 fucking stalks in the backyard. Then I had a rope swing and a sandbox next to a big old cross that said Jeebus.
My grandfather had immigrated to this country when he was about my son's age.
We should deport this guy.
My mom and
I want to see his birth certificate.
Dad built everything that matters in a small town.
They built everything that matters in a small town. So they built the clock tower, they built a water tower, they built City Hall, they built the police station, everything. They built everything that matters in a small town.
In southern Indiana, they built a family and a good...
Fuck Indiana. Yeah, you guys don't know. This is Mike Pence. You know, the religious freedom bill? Yeah. Fuck that.
Good name and a business, and they raised a family. And I dreamed...
See, pretty much you have the two different authoritarianism. You have liberal authoritarianism rightfully on the left and conservative authoritarianism rightly on the right. They both want to make their people protected classes. The liberal on the left wants to make blacks, pretty much anyone who's not white, not male, and not straight, a protected class. The person on the right wants to make anyone who believes in Jeebus a protected class. And fuck white, straight, atheist men. We're fucked. You're like me. You're like Sargon. We're fucked.
Someday of representing my hometown in Washington, D.C., but I honestly, Elaine, I never imagined I'd have the opportunity to be governor of the state that I love, let alone be sitting at a table like this, in this kind of a position. So to answer your question,
I'm really humble, and I just, gosh golly, I can't imagine being here.
I would say I would hope that if the responsibility ever fell to me in this role, that I would meet it with the way that I'm going to meet the responsibility should I be elected Vice President of the United States.
Which is, I'll wait for the corporations to tell me what to do.
And that's to bring a lifetime of experience.
A lifetime of experience, but you act like, oh fuck, I never thought I'd be doing this. Okay, you can't tell me when you started in politics, it didn't cross your mind being in a federal political role. Alright, I've ran for 2 offices myself. I already have aspirations to fucking go for that. I don't want to do it in a career in it, but it's like, okay, dude, I have a voice that I think needs to be heard. I think I represent a lot of people, even if they're not from my area or from my state necessarily. I represent a lot of people around this nation. I think I present a voice of reason. I'd like that to be in Congress. I'd like there to be a voice of reason in Congress. Why not? Why not? I be the voice of reason in Congress. Doesn't that, like, ever cross your mind?
A lifetime growing up in a small town, a lifetime...
Yeah. I'm writing. Oh, gosh, yeah, I pretend I'm paying attention.
Where I've served in the Congress of the United States, where I've led...
Okay, so yeah, you served in all these different positions, but I never thought I'd be VP. Bullshit. Anyone who served in multiple positions, especially in the Republican or Democratic parties, knows that they are viable for the vice president ticket. Because especially if you are buying into the corporate bullshit, you are probably going to be in the pool to be selected. Especially if you served in Congress. If you are serving or have served in Congress, you will be pulled as a VP potential, because it's like, okay, people kind of know you. That's what it's about. It's getting your state's vote.
Led a state that works in the great state of Indiana.
So that's the thing. Trump being from New York, they wanted someone from Indiana. Indiana may have been leaning more liberal. They want you to get Indiana. You're never going to see a shit state in the Midwest that doesn't have a lot of votes or isn't important be pulled for the VP. If New York wasn't taken, both vice presidents would probably be from New York. You'd have them be from New York, from Texas, from like Florida, from California, from Oregon, from Pennsylvania. You'd have them be from a state that is a battleground for them and that is worth a decent chunk of the vote. Like Gary Johnson, New Mexico very well could go purple. I hope it does. I hope New Mexico goes purple and Gary Johnson gets that many electoral votes. That happens, I don't care who wins the presidency, because we will have sent a big fucking message and a major middle finger to the political establishment. And I think that means that Johnson might, or a Libertarian or Green Party or someone else might win the next time.
And whatever other responsibilities might follow from this, I would hope, and frankly, I would pray.
Of course you would.
Be able to meet that moment with that lifetime of experience.
Senator Kaine, on the campaign trail, you praise Secretary Clinton's character, including her commitment to public service. Yet 60% of voters don't think she's trustworthy. Why do so many people distrust her? Is it because they have questions about her emails and the Clinton Foundation?
It's because of the Clinton Foundation, because she takes corporate money, because she hasn't given her transcripts or her speeches for Wall Street. It's because she's so obviously and so unashamedly corporate bought. People are just like, why would I trust her? Why would I trust anything she says? She's just trying to get my vote. She's going to do whatever the corporations tell her. Why should I care? And your answer is going to be bullshit. Same with fucking Mike. Pence is going to give some stupid fucking... And that's what's so depressing. It's so predictable. Politics has become so predictable. And it's so easy to call. And it's like that for everything. When I ran for a local election, I ran for county supervisor from where I am. I went to multiple candidates' nights, and there were candidates who showed up whose opening statements I had memorized, because they would say the same thing over and over and over. They never change anything. They never bring in anything new. It was boring and pathetic. It's the same thing I got bored with and kind of made sick over when I tried doing comedy locally. Comedians that would go to the same places and use the same routines over and over and over and over again. They practiced the same set verbatim, and I knew it and could perform it, I think, sometimes better than they could. It's sad to see this. It's sad to see that when you can pick up on this shit, when it's predictable. When it's predictable, when we have it down to a science when we're watching you, that means you need to change it. When it's predictable, when I can predict how Clinton will react, or how Trump will react, or how any party will react to a development, when I can predict the answer, or at least the basic format of the answer for a politician, it's sad. And the only times I've ever thrown for a loop is when they go way off the rails, like with Trump, might go way off the rails. But it's still not good. Like I said, I really do I think that Trump is running either for his own political interest, or he's running to get Clinton elected. I think that Clinton will be elected, and that we're going to see 4 more years of shit getting worse in the US. What I mean by shit getting worse, I mean us starting to take on the shit that's going on in Canada, that's going on in Western Europe, which is social justice becoming rampant, us having to bow down to PC culture, and us being, people being pretty much practically, virtually mandated to accept bullshit conspiracies like the patriarchy, or institutional racism. That we have to accept that whites and men are somehow inherently evil, when that is ignorant and goes against any human rights advocacy of any original social justice advocate, which were actually advocating for true social justice and true human rights. But, you know, I blame the baby boomers in my generation, the millennials. The baby boomers are who produced these two idiots that we're voting, that are the main highlight. But you know what? Let's do one thing.
Well, my question is I do believe in the constitutional right of to bear arms. I do own a gun. Yet my question is, even though when it comes to our car situation, it's also considered a deadly weapon, yet we have to have insurance and we register it every single year. Now it's actually easier to buy a gun and to use it than to legally drive a car.
Okay, that is a pretty dumb question. I would ask, okay, do you know how easy it is to get a hold of a car compared to a gun?
You said America would be safer if it was easier to buy guns and if more people carried them, especially out in public. But last week, when I went out dancing with my friends, unfortunately, I ended up in the middle of the worst mass shootings in our nation's history, and I'm still a little bit distraught about it.
Yeah, it's scary, but that doesn't mean...
Oh.
Yes, but what I did want to ask is, how would making it easier to buy guns with minimum requirements, especially unnecessary military rifles, how is that making it easier for us?
Unnecessary military rifles? What the fuck does that mean? Do you know what the biggest gun killer is in the United States? Handguns? By a landslide and a 20 landslides, actually. Let's pull it up. FBI gun statistics. Pulling some AIU shit here. Okay, so handguns 2013. See this trend about 6,000 other firearm types not stated. So we'll just say that other and not stated are put. So about 2,000. So about, I don't know, 3 times as likely to be used if every single one of these is a semi or automatic rifle. And that's not always the case. The firearm unstated, they may not know. It might have been a round that could be shot from a rifle, or it could have been a shotgun round. You're more in line. And other guns, rifles. If rifle includes semi-automatic rifles, holy shit, is it no fucking comparison. Handguns, the majority of the killer. Okay? 10,000 roughly a year. Murders with guns. Murder with guns. 8 to 10,000. Like 60 to 70% handgun. That's the fucking problem. Don't come at me with this fucking military rifle bullshit.
I don't think our position would be making it easier. We're not looking to roll back anything, but with regard to keeping guns out of the hands of the mentally ill, with regard to keeping guns out of the hands of potential terrorists, Bill talked about establishing...
Yeah, background checks fix that. Easy. That's all you need. Background check. Don't need a wait period. Don't need a fucking card. Just, are you an American citizen? License. Okay. Put down your social security number. We'll run ya. Put down your license plate. We'll run ya. There you go. License plate being ran, social security being ran, ID being ran. Anything reads hot. Okay. Other than that.
A 1,000-person task force to potentially address that hotline. Look, we should be open to these discussions. I would love to understand what transpired between the shooter and the FBI, for example. Getting in the middle of that's why I want to get elected president. I do really well in that situation. I'm not saying I would be value added, but look, the FBI came in contact with this guy 3 times. What transpired? Why wasn't this guy deprived of his guns?
Republicans. Anyway,
you gotta decide for yourself.
You know, that upset me a little bit there, but still, I mean, I think we all know that Johnson probably would repeal a few things, but with Weld, he may not. That's the one thing I don't like. Weld is far more liberal, like stereotypically liberal. And I understand having some laws like background checks, but there are a lot of limitations that need to be reeled back. And at the federal level, there aren't that many limitations. It's the state level that the limitations are set. And to be honest, there isn't anything the federal government can do about it. That's how it works. Well, I mean, unless you were to sue and it would go to the Supreme Court, then the federal government has a say. And that's the Supreme Court, not the president. The president can't do shit. The president is actually pretty meaningless, with the exception of how the country interacts with other nations. That's the main job of the president, as well as being kind of the face we all see when shit goes bad. Who talks to us first? The president. Shit's bad, it's okay though. We got it. That's their job. They're the one guy they put in front of the camera to tell everyone it's okay. The one guy they send to talk to all the other leaders of the nations. That's it. The real work's done by Congress. The president can veto. There isn't a whole lot the president really can do. However, I think Johnson would be better at it. That's just my opinion. Johnson is in favor of better policies. He's in favor of less government, not more. He's not into PC culture. He's not into the crazy conservative shit. And there may not be too many changes under Johnson, like I said, but you're not going to have the dangerous personality of Trump, and you're not going to have the dangerous continuation of the progression of terrible with Clinton. Johnson would put a stop to anything bad. Johnson would be diplomatic with anyone who disagrees with us. Johnson would be able to maybe reach out to countries that he couldn't. Johnson would not support bills that are extremely egregious. He wouldn't support bills that usually have government. He wouldn't support government intervention. He wouldn't support a lot of things. And, yeah. So, thank you guys for watching, I guess. Go out and vote. It matters. You don't have to, but if you do, it matters. We'll get it next time.